Verses 24 and 25. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم والمحسنات من النساء إلا ما ملكت أيمانكم كتاب الله عليكم وأحل لكم ما وراء ذلكم أن تبتغوا بأموالكم محصنين غير مسافحين فما استمتعتم به منهن فآتوهن أجورهن فريضة ولا جناح عليكم فيما تراضيتم به من بعد الفريضة إن الله كان عليما حكيما. Also prohibited are women already married, except those whom your right hands possess. Thus has Allah ordained prohibition against you. Except for these, all others are lawful, provided you seek them in marriage with gifts from your property, desiring chastity, not fornication. Give them their dowry for the enjoyment you have of them as a duty. But if after the dowry is prescribed, you agree mutually to vary it, there is no blame on you. And Allah is all-knowing, all-wise. ومن لم يستطع منكم طولا أن ينكح المحسنات المؤمنات فمما ملكت أيمانكم من فتياتكم المؤمنات والله أعلم بإيمانكم بعضكم من بعض فانكحوهن بإذن أهلهن وآتوهن أجورهن بالمعروف محصنات غير مسافحات ولا متخذات أخدان فإذا أحصن فإن أتين بفاحشة فعليهن نصف ما على المحصنات من العذاب ذلك لمن خشي العنة منكم وأن تصبروا خير لكم والله غفور رحيم. If any of you have not the means wherewith to wed free believing women, they may wed believing girls from among those whom your right hand possess. And Allah hath full knowledge about your faith. Ye are one from another. Wed them with the leave of their owners, and give them their dowers according to what is reasonable. They should be chaste, nor fornicators, nor taking adulterers. When they are taken in wedlock, if they commit indecency, their punishment is half that for free women. This permission is for those among you who fear sin. But it is better for you that ye practice self-restraint, and Allah is oft forgiving, most merciful. Now this verse is a continuation of verse number 23, in which Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has prohibited a number of women, like mothers, daughters, sisters, aunts, whether paternal or maternal, and those who followed them in that ayah. And that has been explained. Now this ayah number 24 gives the last in that category. وَالْمُحْصَنَاتُ مِنَ النِّسَاءِ, and also those women who are married to someone else, they are not allowed to you. And until they are divorced and they pass their iddats, then you can marry them. So all the chaste women, and here it means, وَالْمُحْصَنَات means here the married women, they are also prohibited to you. The only exception is إِلَّا مَا مَلَكَتْ أَيْمَانُكُمْ, except those whom your right hands possess. And of course they are allowed to you. Kitab Allahi alaykum, that is a decree which is decreed by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala upon you. وَأُحِلَّ لَكُمْ مَا وَرَاءَ ذَلِكُمْ. And all other women, leaving this list which has been described, all other women are halal, are allowed to you. But with this condition, أَن تَبْتَغُوا بِأَمْوَالِكُمْ, that you seek them with your money. Money means here the dower amount which you give to them. مُحْسِنِينَ غَيْرَ مُصَافِحِينَ. Muhsinin, that you desire chastity. غَيْرَ مُصَافِحِينَ, you don't desire fornication. Now, فَمَسْتَمْتَعْتُمْ بِهِ مِنْهُنَّ فَآتُوهُنَّ أُجُورَهُنَّ فَرِيضًا. So whoever you enjoy them, you have to give them their dowry amount, which is an obligatory thing from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. All right, after marriage, if you agreed upon something after fixing the dower amount, for example, the woman has forgiven you the dowry amount, or she has abandoned her right into the dowry, and she said, all right, I just forgive you the dowry amount, then of course it is allowed. There is no blame upon you if you do that. Inna Allah kana aliman hakima. Indeed, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala knows and He is wise. Now this ayah is very clear that when you want to marry someone, you have to give the dowry amount. If the dowry amount is not fixed at the time of marriage, then after the marriage, a dowry should be given to that woman similar to the dowry of the woman of her rank. That is known as mahrul mithl, a dowry which is similar to the dowry of the other woman of the same rank. This is the commandments which is given by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala for a valid marriage. Now, I want to discuss about the temporary marriage or nikahul mut'a under this ayah, because that is the argument of a faction of Muslim Ummah known as Shia, and let me mention them as Ar-Rafida in the remaining of my talk, because Ar-Rafida, they allow the temporary marriage. And the basic evidence for them is this ayah. Because they say that this ayah is about the temporary marriage. Why? Because of this word which is mentioned here, فَمَسْتَمْتَعْتُمْ بِهِ مِنْهُنَّ. Now this word is istamta', and the root word is mim ta ain, mata'a, and from mata'a comes mata', which is used for even worldly life. وَمَا الْحَيَاةُ الدُّنْيَا إِلَّا مَتَاعُ الْغُرُورِ. Mata actually means to enjoy. Because this world is to enjoy, this is why the word mata' is used in Quran for this world. Now this word mata' or tamatta'a is also used for umrah. فَمَنْ تَمَتَّعَ بِالْعُمْرَةِ إِلَى الْحَجِّ. So the one who does umrah with hajj. The word mata or tamatta is mentioned there. Why? Because when you combine umrah with hajj in a way that you accomplish the rituals of umrah first, and then you come out of the state of ihram, you become halal, and then you enjoy your worldly life. And if you are with your wife, so you lead a normal life with your wife for the remaining days until the hajj date is due. And then you come into the state of ihram once again and you do your hajj. So this type of hajj, which combines umrah with it, and you become halal after performing the rituals of umrah, is known as tamattu. Why? Because there is an enjoyment between two of them. So this is why the word tamattu is used for tamattu hajj as well. From tamattu, the another word comes here which is istimta'. Istamta' also means to enjoy. Now here, the meaning would be like this, فَمَسْتَمْتَعْتُمْ بِهِ مِنْهُنَّ. So whoever you enjoy from among them, from among the women, فَآتُوهُنَّ أُجُورَهُنَّ فَرِيدَةً. So give them their ujur. Now the word ujur, which is the plural of ajr, and ajr or ujur or ujra is known for the English word, or in English word it is known as the wages. The wages are any payment you do in exchange for any service which is done to you. For that purpose the word ujur or ujra is used. If you go to an Arab country, you will find for taxi the word ujra. The word ujra is written on the taxi. So it means because you pay the taxi and you pay the fare and you go where you like. So the word ujra is used for fare, for wages, for payment. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is saying that whoever from among the women you enjoy, give them their ujra, their wages, faridatan, as an obligatory act. To us, this ayah is very simple, is very straightforward. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is telling us that all these women, like your mother, your daughter, your sisters, and the remaining women, they are all prohibited to you. You can't marry them. And in the end, even the married women, you can't marry them because they are married to someone else. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said, all right, the other women who are not in this category, you can marry them. But to marry them, you have to do two things. One, your niyyah, your intention should be clean. You want to live a chaste life. You don't want to fornicate. And the second thing, that you are going to give them their ujra or their ujur, which means dowry. Because the dowry amount is given to the woman when a person marries a woman. If he marries the woman and then he divorces her without having sexual relation with her, then he has to pay half of the dowry amount. But if he got that relation with her, then he has to pay the full amount. That is the difference between the two different conditions, different situations. So this ayah is very clear for us, because Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said, all right, first all these women are prohibited, other women are allowed, and if you want to marry them, then marry them in this way. So the ayah is very clear. There is no temporary marriage here at all. But these people, because they believe in the temporary marriage, they said, let us find out an evidence from Al-Quran. To say, all right, here the word nikah is not mentioned, but the word istimta is mentioned. So istimta means just to enjoy. So if you want to enjoy some from among the women, then you simply give the dowry amount, not the dowry amount, ujra, any ujra which you fix between two of you. And that is all, that is allowed. And temporary marriage means that there are two important parts of this marriage, that it is for a limited period, either a day or a night, or some weeks or some months, and with a known amount, which is ujra. So if these two things are found, then it is a temporary marriage. Unlike nikah is done just to last forever. So this is why though no period is mentioned at the time of nikah. So this is the difference between nikah and between mut'ah. In mut'ah there must be a time which is given. So they say that this ayah is about mut'ah, not about nikah. So we have to see all the evidence from Quran and Sunnah to refute their claim. Now, let us understand one thing, that in Jahiliyyah so many types of nikah were found. Among them was this type of nikah was known to the Jahiliyyah people, and that was the temporary marriage. So it means that Islam has prohibited so many things which were allowed in Jahiliyyah. For example, the wine. they used to drink wine until the verses of Al-Quran came and it prohibited it, but in different stages, as you know. In the same way, this type of nikah was known to them. And Prophet ﷺ prohibited this temporary marriage first in the conquest of Khaybar, which was in the 6th year of Hijrah. In the conquest of Khaybar, he found two things, that there was the meat of donkeys or asses, and people were about to cook them and eat them, and eat the flesh of the asses. So Prophet ﷺ said, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has prohibited for you the flesh of the donkeys. And as reported by Sayyidina Ali radiallahu ta'ala, Sayyidina Ali is the reporter of this hadith, he said, and he also prohibited nikah al-mut'a, or temporary marriage. This hadith, which is reported by Bukhari, and it is also reported by Imam Malik. Imam Malik is reporting this hadith from a great Imam known as Az-Zuhri, Ibn Shihab Az-Zuhri. And Ibn Shihab Az-Zuhri is reporting this hadith from two brothers. One is Abdullah and one is Hasan. And they are the son of Muhammad bin al-Hanafiya. And Muhammad bin al-Hanafiya is the son of Sayyidina Ali, though he is attributed to his mother al-Hanafiya, but he is the son of Sayyidina Ali. So this is the sanad, or this is the chain, which includes Sayyidina Ali, and then his son, and then his two grandsons. So it should be acceptable to Rafida or to Shia, because they always believe in that sanad, in that chain, where there are the imams are mentioned. Some of the imams are mentioned, like Sayyidina Ali and his sons. So in that hadith, Sayyidina Ali has reported that Prophet ﷺ has prohibited the flesh of the asses and the temporary marriage. So it means that the prohibition was given. Now they say that no, that was not the case. It was allowed once again, and then it was prohibited. So it means that it was actually not prohibited. The matter was fluctuating. Once it is halal, once it is haram, then it is halal, then it is haram. So they say, oh, nothing was proved about it. Only Sayyidina Umar, the second caliph, he is the one who prohibited it. That is what they say. Because, of course, we believe that Sayyidina Umar stood upon the pulpit, mimbar, and he said there were two types of mut'ah in the time of the Prophet ﷺ. And I tell you that they are both haram. And if I find someone doing this mut'ah, I am going to hide him under the clay, meaning that I am going to punish him, stone him to death, and then to bury him in the clay. Another version of his khutbah is that this mut'ah was prohibited by the Prophet ﷺ, and I am not going to leave that person who does that until he brings 4 witnesses that the Prophet ﷺ has allowed it. And of course there was no one to say that the Prophet ﷺ has allowed it. All are reporting the same thing, that it was prohibited. The only thing which we find in the hadith literature, that it was mentioned in the hadith of Ali in the conquest of Khaybar. It is mentioned by another Sahabi, his name is Saburah al-Juhani, from the tribe of Juhayna. And that person says that mut'ah was prohibited at the conquest of Makkah, which is in the 8th year of Hijrah. And then the same Sahabi says that it was prohibited in the last Hajj, Hajjatul Wada, which was done in the 10th year of Hijrah. So it means that we got 3 dates. One, the 6th year of Hijrah, conquest of Khaybar. One, the 8th year of Hijrah, which is the conquest of Makkah. And one, the 10th year of Hijrah, the last Hajj or the first and last Hajj of the Prophet ﷺ. So they say, oh, nobody is clear about that. Our answer to that is, let us try to first understand that what was the position. It was prohibited in the conquest of Khaybar, 6th year of Hijrah. After that, what happened when Prophet ﷺ conquered Makkah, and then there was another conquest of Autas. In that ghazwa or in that battle, this mut'a was allowed only for 3 days. Why? Because people were away from their homelands, and Prophet ﷺ, seeing that let them avoid adultery, he allowed them to do this mut'a only for 3 days. And after 3 days' time, he gave khutbah and he said, this mut'a is prohibited completely. Now this companion Sabura, who reports this hadith, he says that I myself and my cousin, we were traveling outside Makkah and we found a very pretty girl. And I got a cloak with me, a very old type of cloak, or as you say, this shawl with me. And my cousin got a better shawl. Now we asked this woman, do you want to marry one of us temporarily in exchange for this shawl? Now of course he says that my shawl was an old one and the shawl of my cousin was a new one. But I was younger than my cousin. So the woman said, I am going to marry you. So this is how I married her temporarily and gave her that shawl. But when I came back to Makkah, I heard the Prophet ﷺ saying very clearly that mut'a or nikahul mut'a is haram, and any person who has done mut'a, he must not do it again, and if he has given anything to the woman, he must not take it back. So Sabura al-Juhani, who did this act, he is the same one who is saying that the Prophet ﷺ has prohibited it. Now we can say that mut'a was prohibited in the conquest of Khaybar. But our Prophet ﷺ made it clear at the conquest of Makkah once again. Why? Because now the Quraysh people have become Muslim. They did not know about this prohibition, because they were not present at the conquest of Khaybar. They were all new entrants into Islam. So this is why our Prophet ﷺ wanted to let them know as well that mut'a is haram. And in Hajjatul Wada, there were so many people who were coming from every part and every corner of Arabia. This is why it was needed to remind them all, to tell them all that mut'a is haram. So this prohibition of mut'a was mentioned thrice. Now what we say, forget about the time factor. All of them are saying the same thing, that it has been prohibited. It is just like a person, you hear another brother who say that I owe this brother 1,000 pounds. That was last year. And then you hear him once again this year saying the same thing, that I owe this brother 1,000 pounds. Date is different, but the same thing is repeated. So just forget about the time now. Take his statement. In the same way, at all three occasions, one thing is being mentioned, that mut'a is haram, mut'a is haram, mut'a is haram. Though the date is different. So you must not worry about the date. You must take that prohibition. Now under that prohibition comes this 3 days period after the conquest of Makkah, or the battle of Autas, when it was allowed for just a limited period of time. And there is an explanation coming for that, why it was allowed. So the real thing is that the mut'a was prohibited. And there is no ayah in Quran which shows that it was basically allowed in Islam. Or you can have an evidence from the Quran allowing mut'a. No, there is nothing like that. Let me quote another incident. In the time of the Abbasid Caliph Mamun, they were traveling to Syria, and someone in the camp shouted that, of course, mut'a was halal. It was not prohibited at all, just like the Shia saying. So someone from among them has said the same thing at that time. So one of the Sunni ulama, and of course they were all Sunni with Mamun, his name is Yahya ibn Aktham. He said, oh, that is something very wrong which is being shouted. So he came to Mamun the Caliph, and he said that, let me read to you the ayah of Surah Al-Mu'minun. قَدْ أَفْلَحَ الْمُؤْمِنُونَ الَّذِينَ هُمْ فِي صَلَاتِهِمْ خَاشِعُونَ وَالَّذِينَ هُمْ عَنِ اللَّغْوِ مُعْرِضُونَ وَالَّذِينَ هُمْ لِلزَّكَاةِ فَاعِلُونَ وَالَّذِينَ هُمْ لِفُرُوجِهِمْ حَافِظُونَ إِلَّا عَلَى أَزْوَاجِهِمْ أَوْ مَا مَلَكَتْ أَيْمَانُهُمْ فَإِنَّهُمْ غَيْرُ مَلُومِينَ فَمَنِ ابْتَغَى وَرَاءَ ذَلِكَ فَأُولَٰئِكَ هُمُ الْعَادُونَ. The believers are successful who are very concentrative in their prayers, who keeps away from idle talk, who gives zakat, those who guard their chastity, except for their wives, illa ala azwajihim, aw ma malakat aymanum, or what their right hand possess, which means their slave girls. فَمَنِ ابْتَغَى وَرَاءَ ذَلِكَ. So the person who seeks any other woman apart from these two, فَأُولَٰئِكَ هُمُ الْعَادُونَ. They are the transgressors. They are the one who have transgressed the limits of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So Yahya ibn Aksam asked Caliph Mamun, tell me, the woman with which mut'a is to be done, that woman with whom you want to do mut'a, temporary marriage, is she a wife? He said, no, she is not a wife. Because wife is the one to whom you marry an everlasting marriage. And for wife there are few things. You marry her without limiting the time, and if you want to separate from her, you have to divorce her. And after divorce she has to pass iddat. And if you die, she has to inherit you. 4 things which belong to the matrimonial life for a woman, for a wife. And these 4 things are not found with the lady with whom you want to do mut'a. Because in mut'a there is no talaq. Once the time which we have fixed has passed, then she is separated. There is no talaq. And some people, they say from among Shia that she has to have iddat period, which is just 2 monthly periods. Again, their iddah is not like the iddah of a married woman. So it means that she has not to go that proper iddah which is meant for a married woman. Can she inherit? No, she can't inherit. Again, if the man wants to negate the child from this woman, for example, the man has just married her for a temporary period of 1 month's time. She became pregnant. And then she delivered a child after a 9 months period. Now this person knew about this child, and he wants to negate that child. He says, no, this is not my child. So there is no need for li'an. No need for li'an. Because he can simply say that this is not my child. If she was a married lady, she was just like any other wife, then a man cannot negate his child but after doing li'an. Li'an means that he has to either provide witnesses that she has done adultery, 4 witnesses, and if you got no 4 witnesses, then he has to swear 5 times that the curse of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala upon me if I am telling the lies. And again, the woman is asked to swear 5 times that the wrath of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is upon her if she is telling the lies. So in the real marriage, li'an is needed to negate the child. But in mut'a marriage, li'an is not needed. So this is why Yahya ibn Aksam said to the caliph, is that woman is a wife? And he said, no, she is not a wife. Then he said, is she a slave girl? So she can be bought and sold? And the caliph said, no, she is not a slave girl. So Yahya ibn Aksam said, then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala did not allow to have sexual relations with any woman except for these two types of women. Either you marry a woman or she is a slave girl to you. There is no third woman at all. So if this woman with whom you want to do mut'a is not a wife, is not a slave girl, then you are transgressing the limits of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. It is not allowed. So that is one of the very clear evidence in the Quran that the marriage is only allowed in two ways, or you can say the relation, husband-wife relations can be allowed in two ways only, either through proper marriage or through the slave girls. There is no third marriage at all. There is no temporary marriage at all.